So here we go. Rather than copying and pasting this across and vectorising it, we're going to have a go at making this completely from scratch using Inkscape. So we're going to use the skills we've learnt and let's crack on and have a go at this. So first of all, we'll click on the arrow and delete the shape, and I'm just going to look at my design, and I think I'm going to work making the dumbbells in the centre first. So let's crack on with that. So we need a rectangle, and we're going to drag it down like that. The first thing we need to decide, are we going to have a, well, as it calls it on Inkscape, stroke or a border, or is it just a plain colour? So it's just a plain colour. So we're going to go to strokes. On the strokes, we're going to click on the cross, and that completely removes it, so it's just a plain colour. Next thing we need to do is we need to pick off the colour. I'm going to cheat a little bit here. I can scan through the colours, but I'm going to copy one of these shapes in of that colour, just to speed the process up a little bit. There it is. Tiny, but we'll make it a little bit bigger. And I'm going to use one of the tools just to play with this. So I'll click on this shape. I'm going to click on this one, pick colour, and we're going to pick it from there. And that matches up the colour from PowerPoint. I'm not going to cheat and actually use the vectorised shapes from PowerPoint. I'm going to do it from scratch just to show you it can be done. So I'll get rid of this one. So we're making dumbbells. So we'll have that. And I'm going to press Ctrl-C for copy, Ctrl-V for paste. I'm going to paste that across like that. I'm also going to paste another one, and this time I'm going to use the up arrow, extend the size, put that into position, and I'm going to copy and paste that. I have that now taking shape nicely as a dumbbell. So I might have to have a look at markers and snap it onto a grid, but for the meantime, I'm happy that these dumbbells are taking shape. So two things I can do now. If I want to, I can click on one of these, copy and paste it and rotate it so the width stays the same so it looks neat. Or I can create a new shape going across to make the bar. Now I think, if I remember rightly, if I copy and paste one of these shapes, if I use this one, I was saying to you the tweak has lots of options. I'm pretty certain there's a rotate tweak somewhere. So I'm just going to have a look now and see if I can find it. The tweak rotation. There it is, that's the one. So then if I click on this, it rotates it. I've just pressed the shift key there and changed the direction. Silly me. I'm going to rotate it round and keep rotating it until it's at 90 degrees. Whoops, it's now going the opposite way. Come back. As you can see, I could do with speeding this process up a little bit. So I'm going to show you the different tools and playing around with them just so you know the different skills you might want to apply. So I'm now going to make the dumbbells. So here we go. Let's increase the size of this bar. That's perfect now. So I've got my dumbbell there. I can just adjust it now. I'm going to click on this and use the arrow key. And the arrow key, if I look at the pixel grid behind, I can make it pretty accurate. If I was making this properly, I'd be using the measurements and guides and I'd put a grid on. But for the meantime, I'm just going to obviously whiz through this quickly just to give you an idea of how to put a visual identity together. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to highlight a box around the edge and select everything and move this into position like that. Centralise it. Again, if you look at the, sorry to show you, until I click off. If you look at these guides here at the top, you've got a 0 guide there up to 1260. So you'd have to divide that into 2, find the centre point, etc, etc. But again, for the purpose of this, I'm just going to do it very quickly. So I'm now happy with that. So that's my dumbbell in place. Then I might click on this. I can copy and paste one of these shapes again, and you'll see why in a minute. And on this one, I'm again going to cheat a little bit, because I'm just going to take the colour off here, copy it, I'm going to paste it on here. I'm going really tiny again. I'm only using it again because I want to use the colour picker. So click on this, use my colour picker, I just want to pick off that colour. Then, so I'm not cheating, I'm going to get rid of this vectorised graphic, even though it will be perfectly fine to use. I'm going to take it up here, and at this stage I'm going to resize it and rotate it. So I'm going to start working on resizing it, and I'm going to build the roof for my graphic. So there are features up here you can use. So if you wanted to rotate something a little bit quicker than the tweak, you can rotate it like this. I'm going to do a free rotate. When I'm doing a free rotate, what I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you how to use these things here, the flip as well, because they're going to help us. So I'm going to go back to my tweak again, and which one was the rotate? Rotate. Here we are. I'm just going to, oops, let's click on the object and try again. So let's tweak it. There we go. I'm going to get the rotation point that I'm happy with. It's a bit of a funny thing to deal with this. Keep going. Yeah, I'm happy roughly with that. I'm not happy with that, so I'm going to carry on. Let's try that way. Every time I press the shift key, if you look, it goes in the opposite direction. So I'm going to try to get used to that method. Just make sure you click off it. So I'm going to play with the roof now. Make sure I get the size and the angle correct. You might want to keep it the same width as that. You might not do, it doesn't really matter, but I'm just going to carry on playing with it. And I'll show you why. Because I want to get it set up perfectly for this reason. Because what I'm going to do to keep these completely perfect, the two sides of the roof, I'm going to do a copy and paste. So if I Control C and Control V, I have two of these. Now if I use this feature here, this is called flip horizontally. What it does is it flips it that way. So you've got two bars of the roof now the same size, and you can put the peak together like that. And again, if you really want to, spending a lot of time doing this, but hey ho, let's do it. Zoom in there. Let's have a look and make sure that peak at the top's completely perfect. You can zoom in and spend time on it, but I'm just showing you quickly how to put the whole thing together. Again, you might want to tweak. If you look there, the gaps in between there and there are slightly off, but let's just get the thing put together first and we'll worry about that later. Next job, I'm just going to zoom in now. So all we need to worry about now is the text. I'm not going to cheat. I could copy and paste the text in. I'm just going to highlight this text and look, it's ultra serif SF. Now you might have that in Inkscape, you might not have the software you want in Inkscape, so what you'd have to do is just maybe change the font or hope that it's there. So I'll click on the text tool this time, and I need to type in home. Let's increase the box size. Fit. Make sure your capitals are correct on your design, everything matches up nicely. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to have a hunt. How's my look? Do we have ultra serif? There we are, there it is, we have it, brilliant. Make sure my size is alright, etc, etc, but I'm just going to throw all this in very quickly because this is just a demonstration. If I go back now, there's a black border around the text, so let's get a black border put on. So we go to the stroke, and on the stroke we'd make it a solid stroke around the edges. It's actually red at the moment, so we can use the colour picker, or I'm just going to look for black. There you go, I can find that quite easily on there. I might change the size of that slightly, so I'll just knock it down a little bit, but it depends what your preferences are. Remember, your design does not have to be the same as your final product. So you can show a little bit of development if you want, if you justify and explain why. So let's have a look at the font now for the strapline. The font for the strap line is R094. How's me look? Let's go back. Another one. Let's try again. So, fitness for you. Just increase the box size on that. Well, I've lost the text, let me do it again. I think what I'm going to have to do actually on this one, because I'm running out of space and I'm rushing, is I'm going to create the box there. And it doesn't like. There we go. Fitness. It doesn't like the font being so big, so it keeps knocking it down there. So I've pressed backspace, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the font at this point and just shrink it a little bit. So let's just try 300 to start off with. So let's get it in. So fitness, how have we done it? Fitness to you. And it's just an initial capital letter, just make sure you get it right. Fitness to you, capital U. And we know that was font Arial. Do we have Arial font? How's your look again? Scroll right up here to the A's. There we go. Got it. If I don't like that, I might need to make it a bit bolder. Again, I can change it if I want. It's, you know, let's go Arial rounded then. Make it a little bit bigger. Size, I might increase the size now to like 400. Am I happy with 400? So on and so on. I'm going to leave it like that, obviously because this is just a demonstration, but if I had time, I might start adjusting it and making it look bold, bigger, change the style, etc. So all I need to do now is, if you go back to my design, fit and to you need to be red. So let me go back. So to you, I'd highlight. Now this time I can just use the colour picker again. And I can just pick it off this red. And what it's doing is it's making the whole thing red, which is no good for me. So what I'm going to do to solve that problem is I'm going to make them two separate objects. So I'm going to click on this. I'm going to, oops, one click. I'm going to copy it and paste it. And then this one can be fitness. And this one can be to you. That's the way around that little issue. Again, I'm going to do it very quickly. I'll highlight this, use the colour picker, and just pick it off there like that. So I'm going to have to do the same thing on the main visual identity in a minute. Really trying to speed this up. Now it's taken me to do this so far. If I look, it's taken me 13 minutes. So this is a 13-minute job so far. I'm going to copy and paste this. So home, stay where it is. Fit can become red. Use my little picker tool again. As you can see, I love this little tool. And there we go. In 15 minutes, I have a finished visual identity. I'd spend a little time tweaking and refining it, but if you look at that now, and you look at that, it is done.